Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America in English.
Oh, what a strike! Club America!
Your hosts for today are Ivan Pineda, Cristian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Goal! Now let's hit the field and start the show.
America!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the disaster that was the elimination of America yet again in another quarterfinals Liguilla matchup, and what again it ends in utter heartbreak. We'll be discussing what went wrong for America, what happened that deteriorated from the great season that they had originally. First place means nothing. And of course, we'll be talking all the rumors that have exploded within the past 48 hours of America losing against Pumas. So plenty to talk about. We got quite the show ahead of you guys. So without further ado, let me introduce tonight's co-host. It is none other than Brooklyn's very own AJ and New York's very resident Cristian Rosendo. Gentlemen, how are we tonight?
Doing good. Had tacos at Ronco. Christian, know the vibes. You know the place. But ready for all the chaos that's about to happen tonight. I'm ready.
Chaos indeed. And I think the main person in starting the chaos for tonight is going to be Christian. Christian, how are you, man?
Doing good, Ivan. I'm doing good. I hope everyone here had a fantastic Thanksgiving. Yeah, man, chaos indeed. Very shortly after our elimination. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. But it's interesting to see and to hear the opinion of you guys and also the fans in the chat right now about the match, and because I really think that it was just a very poor way to go out. But we'll get into it though. So definitely a lot to talk about tonight.
A lot to talk about indeed, and it looks like we have I don't know, a lot really to talk about and a lot really to kind of look back and realize as to what happened. We got some comments in already saying, Chris, we need Ivan to say I told you so about the fake number 10. We'll get into that a little bit later, and it's only the beginning. Of course, it's only the beginning. There's a long off season ahead for America now that they have quite an extensive weeks before the start of the clausura. But all right, gentlemen, let's jump into this because we were a bit too optimistic to think that America was gonna pass into the next round, seeing as how we didn't. Going into the first game Wednesday night, we knew that America had to be bold, that America had to do something in order to kind of offset Pumas. But I don't really necessarily think any of that happened. AJ, I think you kind of talked about it. It was a dull matchup, and I kind of warned everyone ahead that it would be that come Wednesday. It wasn't going to be anything fancy. It wasn't going to be anything too crazy. And it was literally just going to be America weathering the storm, trying to get a goal on the counter, which they almost did so, and just kind of hold off for the Azteca. Christian, we weren't so adamant about that, but we knew that was coming. Were you a little bit disappointed, though, that still was the game plan?
Obviously, I think we really made it very clear last time we were here that on Wednesday we needed to walk away there with the win. I guess you can say for once, and in this America lifestyle, that we didn't have to play the comeback kids in the Vuelta. But you saw the game and you really thought, wow, we really came out to tie. And that's obviously not the way, I guess, the philosophy of America is, especially in the elimination like this, where you have literally everything in your favor. On Saturday night, you didn't even have to, you didn't have to win. You just had a draw, but a draw, and that's it. We were into the semifinals. And so that's why for me it was even more crucial to at least get a goal advantage on Wednesday night. Because then that just brings you that much more of a cushion going into Saturday. But now you literally say, okay, you know what? We're gonna go into Wednesday. We're gonna go into Seoul. We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna just play for the draw, and then we're gonna play it all on one game. We're gonna put our season on the line in one game. And I think Solari just kind of he took the biggest risk. It didn't pan out, obviously, and that's his fault. That's his fault for not being more aggressive on Wednesday and trying to go for the win. Because I think if we would have won, the game on Saturday would have been completely different.
It would have been 100% completely different. I think this derives more to what kind of we were saying in the CONCACAF Champions League final, that I think Solari had peaked already with this team. There wasn't any more that he was going to be able to get out of them. And with the injuries at hand, it was looking even more dire to think that the America side was going to be able to produce anything flashy, let alone produce, something that was going to be sustained. AJ, I mean, your takeaway from the game on Wednesday.
Did we realize we were playing a Liguilla match? Did we realize it was a Clásico? Did anyone actually wanted to, play for the full 90 minutes and defend the team's color? Don't think so. And I think the stats alone says that itself as well. We had 3 shots compared to Pumas 14. They had more possession than us. I think they actually came to this game wanting to actually play. Did America really felt like they want to play at all? No, it seems like the same thing with the Monterrey game. They probably forgot, in that CONCACAF match, it was a final. This game, I think, forgot that it was a playoff match. Disappointing for America.
Yeah. And Chris brings up the argument, Solari and Piojo, my stance has been consistent. These group of players can only be coached and led to an extent. Look, it goes to the saying, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I think Solari,
That's the saying.
That is a saying. Yes.
Really? That's a very clever saying.
It is, and it's true. The reality of it is, you can coach these guys and teach them and try to implement that, but it's up to them to go and do it out there on the pitch. And let's be honest, the depth of this squad was drastically dire, and losing player like Pedro, who helps so much in the midfield and gives you that balance, offsets everything, because we, for some reason, went with a 4-4-2 on Wednesday. You had Fidalgo on the right-hand side, which at times was just completely lost.
Yeah.
And no idea why he had him on that hand. We had 2 strikers up top that just kind of, I felt, were just non-existent. Wait, did we have a 4-4-2 on Saturday or on Wednesday? I can't remember now.
It was I think it was like a 4-4-1-1, because I remember Fidalgo was playing behind Viñas, I think it was. That's where I saw.
Sorry. 4-4-2 was on Saturday. Wednesday, yes. Wednesday still, though. I mean, the reality is it was not a good showcasing from America on Wednesday. And you said it right to a T, AJ. It looked like no one out there had the desire to win a Liguilla match. Like they went into this, and I don't know if this is because of Solari and he just wanted to plant it like this, but Christian, you're right. The idea was, we're not going to lose this game, and we're going to play for a draw, and we're going to go back home, and we're going to take care of business, right? And it looked, for the most part, it was going to be the case, right? It wasn't a pretty game. AJ already told us the stats. We were completely outplayed by Pumas in that sense. Yeah, even though Pumas, I don't think, looked as dangerous, though, either. They had a couple of good chances. Trump made a save here and there. Defense had to do their part. But nothing too crazy to that extent either, that you're just like, oh my gosh, Pumas is going to wipe the floor with us. You fast forward to Saturday. What went wrong there, Christian? We had the lead and everything.
Yeah, I know. And the game started, and you thought that, okay, the game started. America was doing everything right. They were going forward. They were pushing. We get a penalty. We score the penalty. We're up 1-0 in the first 12 minutes of the game. You're thinking, okay, I think the players finally understood. I think Solari finally understood. We're in the Liguilla. We have to keep going. We got the early lead. Now let's protect it. But what can I say? I mean, the first goal, it's you look at the first goal, and it's one of those goals that you're like, you know that those goals shouldn't happen, but like it just kind of just squeezed by in, and it's a shame because Ochoa couldn't do anything about it. That's not Ochoa, right? And then the defender just misinterpreted the cross and how it was coming.
They get called ball watching.
It's like wow, okay. But it was still at a time though where you thought that okay, there's still some minutes in the first half left for this team to bounce back and react. We've been through this before. Obviously, with this draw, we're still in the next round with this draw. Nothing has changed, and I guess we just hit panic mode way too hard, and unfortunately, we get caught again, and it's a shame. And then we to go down right before the half, it's definitely not a good thing for your morale, not a good thing for your mental, going into the second half, and we just don't know how to recover after that.
I think Ghost of the year past started creeping up everyone's head once that second goal goes in. Maybe even after that first goal goes in, because again, I don't think America was too dangerous even on the counter whenever we had that.
Did we lose him?
Just like how we lost the Liguilla. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I think that's too early. Way too early, AJ. But Ivan's back.
Oh,
I'm back. I don't know. I thought for a secon all of you guys, but then I was like, oh no, it was me. It was me.
It was you.
It was me.
Keep it going.
It was weird. Yeah, like I said, Ghost of the Gia pass crept up in everyone's head even after the first goal, I think, and because of that, you see the downfall.
Mhm.
I mean, it's really nothing more to it. I mean, how would you put it in your own words, AJ?
is there really any words to really describe how this game went? It's difficult. Just really disappointing. You really lost a Clásico at home 3-1. You let literally one guy on that entire Puma squad destroy America's defense completely. 3 of the crosses that he did came from the same exact area, and it resulted in the same way the goals were being scored at. It's difficult. It's hard for me to describe this game as a whole. Just once again, America disappearing when we really need them the most. They just don't want to play. They had no heart, no passion.
Yeah. And I think it doesn't help the argument that Solari is only a league coach. He isn't a playoff coach, right? And I mean, granted, Solari has to take a big chunk of the responsibility in this as well, because he planted the team, he put them out there, he gave them the tactics. Now I get it. Some of these players are terrible, and and it doesn't help that they're not playing any better. But I mean, you have what you have. And again, I don't want to give too much fault at Solari. I know he's getting picked apart by the Americanismo. So is Ochoa, which again makes no sense to me. So are different players. Maybe some deserve it more than others. But this is what the Americanismo is, right? Whenever the results aren't going your way, then everyone starts picking at each other and trying to tear each other apart. I mean, Cuauhtémoc Blanco came out and said that America needs a new coach.
Yeah.
Do I agree with that? Not necessarily, because I mean the man got us in first place. He got us the results that we needed. I think that our beloved Cowboy said it perfectly. He just kind of he reached the ceiling with this team. He capped it, and he wasn't able to do more than that. And now it's really time for a new beginning. I mean, what could this America have been if we had a right midfielder this whole season?
What could have this America been if we had someone to just be that game changer? No one on that team is a game changer as of right now, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. They thought, okay, with the 1-0, they were already into the next round because in their mind, okay, Puma needs to score 2 on us in order for them to go. They thought they had this thing won already in the 12th minute of a Liguilla match, and that's not how you approach it. That looks bad on the captain. It looks bad on the coach. It looks bad on the 11 players that were out there. It looks bad on everyone, right? But you sit there and you ask and you look up and down that roster sheet and you think, how can now one of these players with the capabilities that they have, the personalities that they have, how can not one tell everyone, listen, guys, we need to wake up. We're down. We're down. As of right now, we're not in the next. We're eliminated. We're getting eliminated by the 11th place team in the league right now at this moment. That we don't step it up. They come out in the second half, and it's just a whole bunch of crossing leading to nothing, and it's not what we need to do in order to advance. And it's disheartening as a fan because your team is more capable, and that in the past your team has come back, from worse than this. And to think that this series was very, very, very winnable, and to lose in that fashion, it's just not a good feeling as a fan. And I'm sure you guys can agree that when that third goal went and you were just like,
No,
what,
once that third goal went
what
in,
do you
I
do
was
now?
like,
Like, what do you
what do
do
you
now? Like,
nothing.
there's no way, and any of us thought that we were gonna come back and score 2 goals in 8 minutes,
No.
right? That was never gonna happen. Never gonna happen with this team. And the
I
other
knew we were
teams,
done the
any other
moment that
teams,
second goal went in.
right? I mean, but yeah, that's what I'm saying though. But with past teams, you would have been like, okay, you know what, we're down, but I'm sure that this team can find a way to come back and sort of get themselves back into this game and maybe score another one to keep it going. We've seen it in the past before. We've been down 2 goals with with minutes to go and winning the game. We've done that before. But with this team, you just saw it, and then you saw in the players, you saw how they were moving, no creativity at all, and it's just a whole lot of nothing.
It is a whole lot of nothing. And I mean, look, Jerry puts it, I don't know how to describe it, but there was a progressive drop in form throughout the second half of the season. Chava Reyes, Henry Roger, and even Richard Sanchez were the most notable in that drop. I don't know if you gentlemen agree with that.
Yes, I agree with all that.
Yeah, it does. All of it just
You
disappeared.
can throw in Fidalgo there too. I think Fidalgo did drop a little bit as well as the season went on. It's just more, I guess, for him, more of I guess frustration, and not being able to play his game. As we saw in the first leg, you guys said how he was always on the right side, but at times he found himself in the middle and he was actually creating something and putting some sort of danger into this team, and then right back to the right and then being non-existent, right?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the last couple of games, and progressively that drop is tremendous, right? And going into the CONCACAF Champions League, we knew that was kind of the tipping point for America. After that, you see that the results is in there against Cruz Azul. The game is dull and boring against Monterrey. The international break again haunts us for a third time in a Liguilla. Everything just culminated for America to be kicked out as early as possible. And that, I think, is the most frustrating part about it, is that we all kind of saw it coming, but maybe we're a little bit too optimistic. Well, at least some of us were a little bit more optimistic than others. Granted so, because again, you look at this squad on paper and you think, well, yeah, someone's going to produce something. Someone's got to pull a little bit of magic, but not one person was able to do so, right?
No, and you look at your so-called players to kind of lift up your team. You're looking at your, your Guillermo Ochoa, your Henry Martin, your Fidalgo, your number 10 Cordova. You look at these players specifically, and you think to yourself, wow, not one of them, rose up and said, "Look, guys, we gotta go. This is not us." And that's why changes are coming. Well, at least we think changes are coming.
No changes are coming, guys. I don't know why you
into that a
guys.
little bit later.
I don't know why you guys are believing this whole fake news that for some reason we struck gold and we're gonna start buying players left, right, and center. No one believes this nonsense. Please, it's not gonna happen. Yeah, it was dull. It was lacklustrous, and the most part, it was flat, and we landed on our face. We landed on our face because this whole Americanismo community came out and said, look, we're number ones. We're the favorites to win this title. We're already in the semifinals. And look at that. We fell flat. Right? It's that arrogance against that speaks for us and, again, humbles us to an extreme extent. Because I remember against Chivas hearing the same thing from people saying, we're in, it's Chivas. They're our sons. We're into the next round. Fell flat on our faces there. Pachuca. Oh, Pachuca's not even coming in with anything, and we got better players than they do. Fell flat again. And now against Pumas, another thing. I think we just got to be a little bit more cautious coming into these games, guys, and thinking that just because a position dictated where we finished in the table doesn't mean that it's going to dictate where we end up in the season. And ultimately, look, again, fell flat on its face. And a lot of factors play into that. I know that it's not as simple as just saying, well, America lost, it was a fracaso, as we put it. I know there's a lot more that goes into the details of it all. But again, in an institution like this, you got to take all your precautions because you know how high the expectation is. So for me, that's the most frustrating part about it is, again, our arrogance makes us fall flat yet again. Ivan, it's okay to cuss after such a bad back-to-back Liga performance. No, I think I used up all my cuss words for the season a couple episodes ago, so I think I'm I think I'm dry on this one. I'm sure one will slip here and there, but it was embarrassing, and I don't know what was. I don't think nothing's gonna be more embarrassing than the exit we had to Chivas under Piojo Herrera that ended up getting him fired. But I think this one has to be next to it. No?
I think so. I mean, like I said earlier, you're playing the 11th place team in the league, a team that, for instance, should never been in Ligia. And okay, they're here, but this is a team that you should have, handled. Like you said, I think people put on the jersey, they see the America crest on their shirt, and like, okay, we're in. Don't matter the other team because we have this crest on, and we're going to win. That's how they felt after the 11th minute after Aguilera scored the penalty. And look what happens. The more frustrating thing for me is, I don't know if you want to call the first one a cross, which I think you should. We lost to 3 crosses. 3 crosses we lost to. That just speaks volumes of whatever your center back partnership was that night. Atrocious. They shouldn't play for America again, in my opinion. I think I've had it enough with Cáceres as well. I liked the kid when he first came. I thought there was great potential. Over these past couple of days, over these past couple of weeks, in these matches, and seeing how when bigger the stage, it seems like he folds. That's not an America player. I'm sorry. I don't care how good you are against Querétaro. I don't care how good you are against, Atlético San Luis. No disrespect, but you have to show up against, your Pachucas in the Liga. You have to show up against your Monterrey in the final of a Champions League. You have to show up against Pumas in the Liguilla match. You just have to. And if you're not capable of doing any one of those things, then you don't deserve to be wearing the America shirt. Nonetheless, being our starting center back. And then, obviously nothing to say about Aguilera, right? We know Aguilera, right? He's done, right? We don't want him here anymore. But now it's up to whoever's in charge to fix all of this. But as I reiterated earlier, there is like a 5% chance of any of that happening. So the real question is, what now?
What now, indeed? I think we're all kind of stuck wondering and are left in limbo because obviously the frustration of exiting the way that we did, finishing in the first place, and absolutely it meaning nothing because it does mean nothing at the end of the day. That it's just you're left with that sensation of what now? The club hasn't in the past year shown any sort of competence in being able to fix an issue with the squad. And you've seen that this has practically been the same squad for what, almost 3 years?
I would say 3 years, yeah.
Close enough.
Right?
Yeah.
Close enough to the 3 years, yeah.
And nothing has changed. We haven't had a title.
It's frustrating because you see other teams. You see your Tigres. You see your Monterrey. You even see Cruz Azul to some extent. They see how everything is going. They're the ones changing. They're the ones adapting. They're the ones, buying these players to compete at the highest level possible. And that's why one of them was a champion last year. One of them is in semis this year, and the other one is the CONCACAF champion this year. Right? It's not really hard to correlate how these things go, right? You see your team, you identify a problem, and you go out and fix it. A team like America should obviously do that without having to say it. But it's taken us almost 3.5 years to finally wake up and for them to put out an announcement that changes are coming. It took you 3.5 years to do this. That's not very America-like. From the first season that we had a fracaso, this stuff should have been moved, stuff should have been changed. Bringing in one player each season is not going to do that when you have glaring problems in the attack, when you have even more glaring problems in the back. Something is definitely terribly wrong, and I think I speak for all Americanistas here. We just hope to see some sort of light for next season, because right now it's very, 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 very cloudy.
Yeah, extremely cloudy. And again, fell flat on our faces. And because of it, regardless of what you so-called accomplished throughout the regular season,
which is nothing.
Which is nothing. You fell flat on your face, and ultimately, because of it, it is a failure of a season, yet again. Doesn't matter how well you played or how great of a defense you had in the stats table. Doesn't matter that you came in first place. Doesn't matter that you've held on to first place since like the 4th week of the season. Look, all of these little mini trophies that the media was trying to award us or give flowers to Solari means nothing at the end of the day, because again, you're walking away empty-handed twice in a Liga under Solari and in a CONCACAF Champions League. So again, which by the way, you're not going to be even in thoughts of a CONCACAF Champions League at all for the next year. So you have to wait and potentially another 2 years to even see a CONCACAF Champions League again with an America,
Yeah,
which I think is unacceptable.
it is. We should be in there every single year.
Exactly. That is for me the most unacceptable part. And well, how do you go from there on out, right? I think everyone's thrown in their solutions, right? Everyone's thrown in who needs to go, who needs to stay. And there's a lot of debate as to who that is and who will be and this and that. But honestly, AJ, can you say that anything will change?
Most likely not. Considering that we'll be, saying a certain name and use that, they'll be staying at the club. So I kind of really don't have any hope. Doesn't help that it makes me laugh when you see all these other Americanistas with their notes saying like these are the players you can get. I was like, you think that's even remotely possible? What money are we getting? What money are we gonna get? You want your Mateus Doria, you want your Jonah dos Santos, you want these different forwards. I'm like, what money? Tell me. Who are you gonna get out?
Someone put Rui Diaz. I'm like, why?
I'm sorry. I saw at that point.
It was. I think it was like Avella, Rudias, and like Brian Ocampo front 3 for next year.
Oh God!
And I'm like,
God damn, I want what you're talking right now. Like, how do they think any of that is remotely possible?
I mean, I can sit here and name you names just out of the top of my head, but names are just names. The reality is we need to talk about realistic opportunities for America to come in. Brian Ocampos is probably the only one that we could potentially attain because his contract's coming to an end, and wage-wise, he wouldn't be the most expensive player.
Now, I've been doing his research.
You would have to, talk to him, give him at least somewhat of a lucrative deal in his eyes because he is, I'm sure, drawing attention from European clubs, and so that is also going to be important. And I'm sure the MLS has kept an eye on him as well. So, not to say that we're not going to be in competition for him, but he is someone that I think ideally would fit the role. Now, far from there, Vela, he's not going to come in too expensive. Jonas Santos, don't even think about it. It's not worth wasting all that money for a center back that's completely lost his touch and has completely just become a shadow of his brother in the sense that he is just injury prone at this stage of his career as well. Rui Diaz, don't even think about mentioning that, man. I mean, yeah, he's been able to freaking do it in MLS in Seattle Sounders, but then again, who hasn't been able to do something like that? Federico Higuain came to America, fell flat on his face, and then became the idol of Columbus Crew. Why? Because he went to Columbus Crew. All right, it's a different level here, different stature. Not to say Rui Diaz hasn't done it, but again, Morelia and America are two different worlds. Okay, two completely different worlds. Who else have they thrown out there? I mean, Doria, again, don't get your hopes up. Santos not gonna just easily want to depart him. Yeah, no.
And we know how we are.
Yeah, gonna cost us an arm and a leg there. And whoever is saying that we can pull off Doria and what's their center defensive mid? Gorriarán?
Yeah, Gorriarán.
Gorriarán? No. All right, no. Never. Ever. Pick one of those two. And it's probably
you get one, you don't get both.
You don't get both. And you might not even get either.
You might not even get one.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
Why so many midfielders, though? Why? We don't need this many midfielders. You're looking at the damn club as a whole. We have like 10 plus midfielders. And most people, all of them want are CDMs.
Oh, yeah. And we have actually two very good CDMs in my eyes, in Pedro Aquino and Santi Naveda.
Nope, they don't exist. Let's get another CDM. Why not? Forget
Look,
forwards. We don't. Nah, we're fine. Just get more CDMs.
Forget center backs, right? Because we
Forget
don't need
center
any of those, right?
Look, and then people over here saying that they want to crucify Ochoa and bring in Marchen, this and that. Like, the goalkeeper position isn't even an issue right now either.
It's not.
Look, we need a right winger, which I think if we bring in a proper right winger, a good one that can play under Solari, then you have potential for an America side to look better. And then, of course, you talk about the defenses. Jerry said we need Lucas Castroman and Osvaldo Vizcarrundo back. Oh, God. At this point, maybe. At this point, maybe. Because no, that's
At this point, it seems like Cuauhtemoc just wants to put the jersey back on for all sake, and
I'm not opposed to that. I'll tell you
He,
that.
he would do more.
Opposed to that.
He would do more than any of our center attacking mids.
Probably not, though, but
to
he's
be honest.
been more active in these past 2 weeks than I think he's been in the past 3 years with Club America right now.
Oh, man. Freddie saying Rafa Ramos from ESPN said it was close. America and Santos board have a close relationship. Glad they do. We have a very close
We do.
relationship.
It's a very
with
good
Santos.
relationship,
But
too.
Santos is not just gonna be like, of course, here you can have them on a discount. It's Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna cost us an arm and a leg for one of those guys, let alone two. As you know, don't trust any.
And
of these
also, right now,
ESPN
Santos
guys.
also got rid of their coach, looking for a new one, and I don't think they want to mess up too much of their base going into the next season. That just doesn't seem like a smart thing to do. That's why I'm not getting my hopes up for anyone from Santos, honestly.
Yeah. Luis G saying cash out on Roger Martinez. He's a good player, but not a team player. I think we can all agree on
We've been
that.
saying that for like 2 years now.
Speaking of Vizcarrondo, that dude's retired. He don't even play anymore. So
man, tell him to put the jersey back on, man. At least that way we won't concede on set pieces. He's that tall.
Watch us still concede it regardless, because that's our luck with set pieces.
We'll see. I mean, I know there are reports saying out there that Santos is a seller and that they are willing to do. But look, don't trust anything you hear out there, right? I mean, how many times did we see here? Oh, this is so close to happening, and America was like, we're not even gonna get close to opening our wallets.
Yeah. The only player I know from the top of my head that is transferable on Santos is Diego Valdez, but it seems like he's looking more towards Tigres, Monterrey, or Cruz Azul as a possible destination.
And look, we already have a cam in Fidalgo, and we already have a cam in Cordoba, and we're not even playing with cams right now.
Nope.
Yeah, that's right. We
don't use cams. Nope.
So I don't even know what to tell you in that aspect. Well, I mean, you know, we'll go into the rumor mill right now in just a second, since we've already kind of splurged our way into that. But gentlemen, ultimately, you had Liguilla flat on your face yet again. Grade wise, I would assume we would all be in acceptance that this season alone is probably an F for America.
Of course, there's no other grade you can give this team is an F.
Not even a D. Nothing comes. Not like nothing. Like nothing. Nope. This was worse, and I will make the argument that this season was worse than last season.
Yeah, I could say that
because you fall flat on your face more so than you did last season. So I mean that's the end. Christian, the players will keep reporting till training until when?
December 10th is my understanding. Then they'll break for like a week, I think. And then they'll be right back at it to start for the next season. That's my understanding.
But so they come back after Christmas, basically.
In a sense, I would assume yes.
So expect them to be back in at least for the medical tests and all that stuff by December 27th. That is probably when you're gonna see these players back in Coapa. Well, some of them might not return. We'll get into that in just a second. Any last words for this wrap up of the season for America, gentlemen? No.
Go for it, AJ.
I don't even know where to begin. I really don't. How much more suffering does the America needs to have to really go through? We've not won anything since 2019. Actually, Copa MX. That's really the last thing. Does that it doesn't even that cup doesn't even exist currently? But I don't know. It's a sad time to be an America fan, honestly.
It really
It's a
is.
sad year.
It's a really
Because
sad year.
like, listen, this situation could have been a little bit better. I'm not saying, because obviously any elimination is terrible, right, and should never be looked at as a positive. But if our board was 5% competent of making the situation to a better one, I would say, okay, you know, at least this elimination woke up something, and then they realized that we need a change. And then, but you know, you're dealing with Baños, and you know, you're dealing with you know, with him and his signings and transfers and loan spells, and you think, well, we're just gonna be back to square one, and hopefully we get somewhere next season. So as of right now, and I'm usually the more optimistic out of all three of us. Maybe a little bit less Nate, because I know he's just very optimistic. But in terms of, I guess, the team's future, I can honestly say for the first time in like about maybe 3 years, unless something drastic change happens in these next couple of weeks in this month of December, this next season doesn't look too promising. But I will say one thing though, before we actually kick off everything, what I'm about to say. Well, I guess this is just kind of leading into it, so I guess I'll just start it off for now. The reason why I think that Baños wasn't fired this December is because I feel like if they brought in anyone else, they were just being put into a lose-lose situation, only being given three weeks to kind of build your team, and if it fails, then well, now that hate's all on you. I don't think that was fair. I think that's the only reason why Baños kept his job. But I do think that, and this is me praying to the gods right now, I don't care if America is champion next year. I do think this is the last season Baños has with America. Come June, we will see someone new. But I think that's just my 2 cents on why I think he didn't get fired. I don't know if you guys agree, disagree, or maybe just America isn't in a fiery mood right now.
That would be the most competent thing they've done. Like, if that is the sense, and it makes sense to do so, because, like you mentioned, whoever walks into this is probably walking themselves into a terrible situation. The reality of it is that I think you're right, Christian. You know, this board is a little bit incompetent, and I think they look all that little letter addressing the fans about change. All of that is just a facade. Okay, nothing. This club, unless this club does something during this offseason, and they have 4 weeks. 4 weeks to
They
get
have
things
time.
done.
They have time.
They have 4 to 5 weeks here to get things done. If by next week some movements haven't been made, then this is the same old damn story.
Moves have to be made this week.
Look,
Do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree.
Oh, no doubt about it. Everyone
needs to be for the minimum 2 moves this week for any fan to get excited about next season.
Because I ain't getting more excited about this club anytime soon. I'm gonna admit it. I feel like with each passing year as an America fan, I lose more sentimientos for this club, honestly. Like, I kid you not, when we scored that penalty, I did not actually celebrate. The only thing I had in my mind is, like, we had to score through a penalty. We really had to, because we couldn't do it in regular play. When we could see that goal, unfortunately for me, I'm kind of just like, I lost hope. I'm like, yeah, we're not going to probably do much. Like, as an Americanista, it's sad for me. I usually get excited almost every fin de semana waiting to watch this club on my TV. Now I'm just really like, it's another America match. That's nice. We win, hooray. We lose, okay, we move on, I guess. Tie, so be it. Especially that I'm gonna even go back to that CONCACAF final. Just from that final, I'm just like, okay. Everyone got upset. I'm just like, I'm just forgetting about it. I don't feel any kind of pain. I don't feel sad. I didn't cry for the club at all. I'm just like, okay. So it is what it is.
I think the board has stripped some of the identity away from it, and I think that's the reason why.
We're having an identity crisis.
Ongoing talks right now, but we'll get into it though. We'll get into it.
We will.
We'll get into it.
And Luis said, "Does anyone got Mickey Arroyo's phone number?"
That man's probably,
I'm sure there's a 4 in that phone number.
He's without a club, so he hasn't been on.
He's got to be 34, right?
38, bro.
It's 34.
He has 34.
He hasn't posted since 2020 on Instagram. He's AWOL. We don't even know.
My man is running it up in the Sunday leagues in Ecuador right now. Man.
Yeah, dude.
My man is running it up.
Scoring golazos, breaking people's ankles left and right with that 5-star skill moves. Woo! having the time of his life probably. But
Definitely. All right, look, before we move on to the next segment, I want to remind everyone that today's episode is brought to you guys by Foot Cult. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys check out footcult.com. Use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off all Foot Cult products. Again, discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off all Foot Cult products. Thank you again to Foot Cult for sponsoring today's episode. All right, gentlemen, let's get into this. We got about 20 minutes to discuss everything that has broken in and around the world of Coapa. Christian, what is this that I hear that pretentious, cold-blooded Sebastian Cordoba is going to be heading over to Chivas, and on his way over is going to be Uriel Antuna? What's going on with this? Because by the sounds of it, is about 70 to 75% done.
Damn, you went right for the breaking news. I was going to start off slow before I got to this news.
No, let's go into it.
This
Let's
news
go
seems
into
like
it because that is going to take most of the discussion.
Well, yes, I know that. That's why I want to leave it for a little bit later because there's other things that are happening right now. But we'll talk about it now. I'm sure the fans just want to talk about this right now. When the news first came out, it was brought to me by our good friend here, Chris, and it was brought to me by one other person. This person is usually the one that just kind of just filters information. And I didn't, obviously, who would believe such a rumor, right? Who would believe that America would give their number 10 to Chivas in exchange for Antuna? I kind of just made little of it. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's probably one of these rumors that come up every single year. So I didn't pay mind to it, right? And then the hours go on and I see another report and I'm like, okay. And then the next day, actually, no, I think it was that same night, I see a very reliable reporter saying that the talks were true. So I'm thinking, okay, so they're talking. Usually these talks happen and they fizzle out, right? No. So the next day, more and more reliable reporters come out and saying that yes, these talks have been going on for 3 weeks now. This is the information I have as of so far. So supposedly the talks have been going on for about 3 weeks now, and everything is going on the right track. Everything is great. The only thing that that seems to be the issue is so we don't know if it's going to be a loan for each player. If you guys didn't know, obviously, the rumor is that America will trade Cordova to Chivas in exchange for Antuna to come to America. And for America, it checks off the box of a right winger, a fast right winger at that. And for Chivas, it checks off the box of a playmaker that they desperately need to kind of get their attack going. And does the move make sense for both teams? I would say this move benefits Chivas more than America, only because I think that even though Cordova this year was not Cordova and not living up to his number 10 expectations, I do think that under a correct system, he would shine, or at least be giving us more performances like we know he can give us on a regular basis. So the talks are going good. Yes, Ivan, you are correct. They are about 75% done. Both boards are very happy with the negotiations so far. There is this little rumor going around that America would rather have Alexis Vega over than Antuna, but to my understanding, Alexis Vega was never on the table. It seems like Chivas doesn't want to deal Alexis Vega only because, one, his contract is about to expire. So that would be another hurdle for America to overcome because, in signing him, you have to give him a new contract right now. And obviously, he's not going to take something, he wants to get paid, right? So that's another hurdle America would have to go over. And it seems like Alexis Vega is destined to go to Europe in these next couple of, it would say next year. So I think Chivas just wants to cash in on that money as well. That's why I don't think the Alexis Vega moves makes that much sense. But in the case of Antuna, it seems like he does check off the box that Solari wants. So that's a little bit more realistic. So the trade would be 1-for-1. Obviously, Cordova to Chivas, Antuna to America. But we don't know yet if it's a deal or if it's over just one-on-one trade. That's the thing that's being worked out still right now. But the talks are real though, and it's surprising to say because I don't remember the last time. We're not going to count Oribe Peralta because that was just whatever. But I can't remember the last time that America and Chivas dealt two important players, I guess. Important player for America, important player for Chivas directly with each other. AJ, you want to go on a little Google over there and kind of Google when was his last time this happened? Because I honestly can't remember.
In all honesty, I don't have any like any recollection on it. Really, I
Besides Oribe
don't.
Peralta?
Massa Rodriguez,
Besides
but like
Rodriguez,
yeah, but technically
Yeah.
Massa like left Chivas like a long time ago before going to America. So, and Jesus Molina, but
Yeah, probably no, but Jesus Molina didn't leave exactly from America. It's been a little minute. I'm not gonna lie to you.
mhm.
It's been a minute since this last time. No, Chris, it wasn't Osvaldo Sanchez. There was one after Osvaldo Sanchez too. Trying to remember here. I don't know. We'll see.
AJ, Google it up, man. But yeah,
AJ's on Google alert. Look, I'll say this much. Shocking indeed. Right?
Extremely shocking.
Shocking. But at the same time, okay. I don't know. I'm indifferent
weird.
about this. I'm indifferent about it. I'm not to
I'm
say
so
that I'm
indifferent.
against it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think Antuna is that good of a player either. I think we actually end up losing in this situation. I don't know. It's just it's
It's weird.
something. Yeah, it's very weird. But
super weird. So now, here's my thing with it, and I understand the fans, and trust me, I've been on Twitter more these days than I think I've been in the past month. There's a lot of hate with this because, growing up, you hear your uncles, you hear your dad, you hear your grandfathers, and say, you don't do business with your rival like this, right? You don't. You're not gonna give your rival your number 10 that you put on Sebastian Cordova. Like that's just for number one, that's ridiculous, right? Like you give this player the number 10, he doesn't respond, and you trade him to Chivas. It's unheard of, honestly. And I don't think I'll ever see another thing like this in my lifetime. Because I to us Americans, the number 10 is sacred, right? So many.
But I don't think he earned it. I don't think he earned that.
He
number
didn't
10.
earn it, but he still has it though. That's the thing. He still has it.
I don't know. For me, this is. I'm not gonna say it's good riddance because I still think Cordova is a good player that could have offered us something. But at the same time, I'm just like, so what? I mean, Look, I'm not necessarily okay with Antuna coming because again, he's not the best player either. We could have gotten out of this situation. He's like a Linus on the right hand side.
That's what everyone's describing him as, the lightness at the right side. Yeah.
And I think that's the frustrating thing about it is like, well, what are we gonna get out of this? Not much. I'll tell you that much. Now, do I want to come in and prove me wrong? Of course. I mean, who wouldn't? But again,
that's going to be interesting because if this move does happen, which like I'll repeat once again for everyone that doesn't understand, this move is about 75% done. How is the fan base gonna treat him coming directly from Chivas? It's different if you go from Chivas or America, go to Europe, and you come back to either team. That's just a little bit different because it's not directly, but you literally 2 months ago had a Chivas jersey. Now you're gonna have an America jersey on. That's just it's a sight you don't see very often.
And you don't.
Right?
At all, man.
And then you come in, and yes, so now you technically now you do have a right winger, barring, and this tells me something. So if this move wants to get done within the week, what are you gonna do with Renato Ibarra? What are you gonna do with Leo Suarez? And this is why I didn't want to start off with this because once again, and I'm sorry I'm going to say it, but I mean, I know how you feel, Ivan, but once again, the news is that America is trying to shop around Renato Ibarra, whether it be a loan or something, but they don't want him on the team anymore. They want to get rid of him, and he is priority number 1 to get rid of. Not even Roger Martinez. Renato Ibarra is priority number 1 to get rid of in this team. They've been asking a couple of clubs. Clubs aren't really convinced with him just yet. But they're trying to find a home for him. It's not with America. They don't think he belongs on this team anymore. But to my thing, if I think that Tebara can give you a little bit more than Antuna, though.
Look, the reality of it is that cancel culture has got into America, and the fact that you have a player with the history that Renato Ibarra has, you can't keep him on the squad. That's the reality of it. And so now you have to shop around, and he's still on a pretty big contract wage, and he still has a lot of years left. No one's gonna want to pay that. No one wants to buy him for the same reason. And it's unfortunate because I don't think the club is at fault for this one, really, to be honest. It's not really the club's fault for this one. But again, you put yourself in that dire situation. The whole Leo versus Antuna situation, does that bring out good competition in both of them? I don't necessarily know. But again, still, it's up in the air, right? Look, the Renata situation, Christian, we said it. He was good to go for the Liguilla. He could have been on the bench on Saturday. Could have changed the game completely for America going forward on Saturday. But again, the call did not come from Solari. I'll tell you that much.
The call did not come from Solari.
It did not. Right?
It's very clear of what the club wants to do with Renato Ibarra. So now here's the next thing I want to throw out at you now. So this just actually, I'm just looking at the phone here. It just seems like, okay, so this story originates back to, I think, last night, where there was a video made, and it seemed like there were certain players that were not up to the standard of Club America, which obviously we know, but important players that you think that should be at the top, being the role models, one of them being Cordova. He just didn't feel it. He doesn't feel like he is that leader. He doesn't feel like he is that important player to change the squad. And from whispers here, whispers there, it seems like he asked to be traded, not necessarily to Chivas, but just he doesn't want to be there anymore at Club America.
You know what? So you know what Cordova is? Cordova is literally Icarus, right? The boy who flew too close to the sun.
I mean, so make with that what you will. I don't want to just say it out there if I didn't think it would come from reliable information, but the people who have reported it have been reliable in the past. But they do say that Cordova isn't, that player in the locker room. He just kind of just does what he does what he needs to do in a sense. And then just goes about his day. And I don't think that's how a number 10 of America should act. And if that is the case, then by all means, let's try to fulfill his trade request, because a player like that should not be wearing the number 10 in the first place, let alone be in the club, right? So, if he doesn't feel like he belongs in America anymore, if he doesn't feel like he's up for that leadership role that the club is asking him to kind of step into, I don't know what to say, man. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Then leave. And I hope then Myers does the right thing and traces somewhere, because that's not the attitude that we need from the number 10.
Look, and you guys have all given me stick about Cordova, right? And in the end of the day, I did not want to be the person to be like, "Oh, I told you so."
Do it. You have to be the
But I told you guys also.
Yeah.
Look, his attitude from the beginning was always a red flag for me, but I knew that his potential and his abilities
was going to make up for it in a sense, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay. But it didn't. You gave him the number 10, fell flat, didn't respond. And I think for the most part, this is a player that now went from being a hero to a villain in a matter of hours, right? It's not to say that necessarily it's his fault that he's being traded to Chivas, but this is a man that was destined to go to Europe, and his mind was in Europe for the longest time ever, and he felt that he was on top of the world and he was untouchable and that he was the best player in that locker room. You are going to be 25 years old. You are no longer in that prime year age as to where European teams are looking at you, and you are on your way to Chivas, my guy.
I have a really hot take about Cordova. You know who he's gonna end up being like, and considering he's already going now to his third club in Mexico, Rodolfo Pizarro. He's gonna. I feel like that's my very hot take. He's gonna end up just like him. This is his third club. The same with Pizarro. He was in Pachuca, went to Chivas, Monterrey. They went to Inter Miami. Córdoba has already been loaned out to Necaxa. Went to America, now as the second club. He's now going to Chivas potentially, and I feel like his next team he's gonna move to MLS. That's my take that I had. I feel like it's gonna actually happen. I feel like it's gonna
Jerry
happen.
said it too. Said agreeing with you. Yep, AJ. He's gonna be the next Rodolfo Pizarro.
And he might take on like Antuna and the Córdoba thing. Look, they're both 24 years old. They both play the same position. One player's actually got European experience. The other one doesn't. These two at club level, much left to be desired for. But on the national team level, they're a completely different player. Is there really much of a difference though? Except for maybe Córdoba won a title.
I mean, Antuna's faster.
There's that.
Look. Again, I'm not liking this. Antuna would have been probably like maybe my 148th pick if I had to pick. But I mean, this is where we are now, right? We're kind of scrounging at the bottom because we can't afford for anything
And
better.
I finally found a bunch of players.
Just want to heads up. This move became from a 75 to an 85% done now in the last couple of hours, actually.
It's a matter of hours.
So
tomorrow,
this week, and I think we're gonna get one. I'm not gonna say that's 100% because stuff like this have happened in the past where it seems like it's a done deal and then something happens in the last minute, it falls. But for some reason, this move looks like going straight to the finish line. And it checks off the boxes of both boards. So I'd say upgraded from a 75 to 85 in the last couple of hours for sure.
Freddie said Ivan should have betted the house on his failure. Okay, would have been a rich man right now.
So I did my research that actually have been players who've either gone to Chivas to America or America to Chivas, just like after it happened. Oswaldo Sanchez. So Chris actually got that correct. Pedro Pineda.
Yes.
Geraldo Silva. I mean, it's just like back there in like the 90s. Ignacio Hierro also there. Ramon Ramirez played for Chivas mostly before he played for one season.
Came to America.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude named Javier Cardenas, who used to play for Chivas during the 70s, then made the one-time move to America. And from Francisco Macedo, he played for Chivas and then went to America. And so
so very scarce.
Very. And you have to go back 20 years.
Well, if we're talking about like when players end up making the switch immediately right after, then those will be the players. But Belaisi's played, but like it took some time for him to.
Yeah, he jumped from America to Necaxa, and then from Necaxa to Chivas.
Just like Luis,
that's different.
Just like Luis Garcia, he played in America first, I think, before he ended up going to Chivas. So, but yeah.
Right. So the last one we could probably say is Oribe Peralta, but we count that though.
Nah.
Like
poor
even Chivas fans weren't happy when they got announced.
Yeah, poor Peralta.
He got that dough, though.
What they did to him.
He got that dough.
He got
that money, bro.
He got
such a good paycheck, man. That's why I respected the move, because that man cashed out.
He
big
probably
time.
knew exactly. Honestly, he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
He knew the assignment perfectly. Look, the reality is that there's a lot of breaking news that's going to be coming your guys' way.
Please follow us because I will be doing my absolute best to try to keep you guys updated.
Christian is not sleeping. If he is, he's sleeping on the Twitterverse, and that's saying something in itself.
By the way, though, if anyone is listening, I'd like to thank everyone for all the interactions that we're getting. Obviously, we don't, it seems like we get the most interactions during this time. So that's why we like to be very careful in what we post and make sure that whatever we post is very
credible
much
to the extent.
To the extent, right? Because obviously, journalists can't lie, journalists can't report false information. So we try to filter out the ones that are just doing it for likes and retweets, right? So thank you everyone for interacting with us, and hopefully I can keep or any one of these guys, honestly, we can keep updating you guys with the I guess most real-time information on Club America. And like Ivan said, I will be up I'll try to sleep, and then I'll be right back up at like 7 a.m. to see if there's any news. And if there is, I'll be sure to tweet it for you guys to wake up while you're drinking your little morning coffee there. Staying breaking news: Uriel Antuna has joined Club America, and well, then after that, then we can talk, then we can debate.
Yeah, I agree with Christian there. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Oh, and I think Christian's left.
Hey, look, if anything, we could always ask our boy Fabrizio Romano. Use any.
I'm gonna hit him up right now.
Hit him up right now.
Just say Antuna de Club America gets all the news right away. I'm like, let's.
Oh, Ivan, are you ready to make that design? Are you ready to put an America shirt on Uriel Antuna?
Hey, man, the day has come.
Look,
the day has come.
It will never top that graph we had to make for Sergio Bueno, I think it was.
Oh, my God.
It will never.
To this day, I will never live it down. To this day. But look, there is a lot of news that's going to be overflowing, you guys. Like Christian mentioned, make sure you guys follow us at Eagle Eye Podcast. You guys don't want to miss a second of it. It is absolutely crazy. And, there's a lot of changes coming in for America, and you guys do not want to miss it. Let's see if the board is as competent as they claim to be with that letter that they sent out to the fan. I'm not buying it at all.
He's not buying it. AJ, you buying it?
Buying what?
Whatever crap America's selling.
Make changes.
Nah, not anytime soon.
Not buying it.
They don't deserve, like I said, they don't deserve my sentimientos at the moment. So
they gotta prove us wrong.
That's what I'm really hoping.
They got 4 weeks to prove us all wrong. Can they do it? It's not likely.
No,
let's be real. It's not likely.
They're gonna fall flat on their face like they always do.
Let's see what happens next 4 weeks. Stay tuned. Okay, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. It's gonna be an interesting one. And look, we are gonna be in a bit of a hiatus as we recuperate from this long season. There are some changes coming along the way, and hopefully some exciting ones. So we'll see what happens. But gentlemen, they can always catch us over on Twitter, and if they do so, make sure you guys give these gentlemen a follow on their own personal account, as they like to tweet all things America on their end as well. AJ tweets a little bit too much soccer sometimes. I'm thinking to myself, how does he keep up with all this? But for the most part, Christian can, balance it out between America and hockey. So, I know it's prime hockey season.
It is. We're playing well right now too, so it just makes it a little bit more fun to enjoy.
It
Freddie's
is.
the last podcast of the year.
It is not the last podcast of the year. We have one surprise left for all of you guys. One more podcast, and it should be a fun one. I have some pretty fun ideas for that one. So, with that said, I think we'll wrap it up here. Let the people breathe. Let the people calm down a little bit. We'll give them more news as things go out. And we'll see. Maybe for the last podcast, we can have Fabrizio Romano come on and talk all things transfers.
And we'll just ask him, listen, I'm not coming, yes or no? That's
it, man. Send him the invite link. If he clicks on it, he clicks on it. All right.
Benedetti to Necaxa.
He might have all the latest.
Yes, Benedetti is going to Necaxa. That is a small rumor going around. I don't know.
Chris Rivera saying tic tac.
Tic tac.
Yeah.
Should be fun. All right, then. Well, look, we'll leave you guys with that. You guys have a wonderful time. You guys stay safe out there. And if you guys haven't done so, make sure you guys prepare yourselves for the upcoming holidays. Get some of that last minute shopping over at Foot Cult. Who doesn't want a good pair of Foot Cult shorts for this holiday season? I know I do. So if anyone's listening, size large.
Foco PJ's Wonder, please. I'm in dire need some pajamas. So
that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be really cool. All righty then. Well, with that said, we're gonna leave you guys. We'll be back. I promise you guys before the end of the year to talk one more time amongst all of us, and it should be a good one. It should be a fun time. Until then, you guys stay safe out there. Please take care. And as always, Arriba America. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast. The #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.